Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023. Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023. Well, you know what? It was an interesting day. I'm going to talk about, Sally. She's getting ready to meet with Daniel for the first time and, start doing some preliminaries on designing his apartment. She's so excited. She's at the coffee house and Chloe is there and they're talking. You know, Chloe is not happy at Marchetti, because her mouth, realistically, her mouth. Um, so she's just listening to Sally said, "Oh my goodness, you're so." She goes, "No, I'm." Sally's like, "I'm excited. I got a new lease on life." She's thinking, "I got a piece from the man that I really loved last night." So yes, the world is right with Sally. So Chloe says, "I could tell by that, Chloe, you are happy. That must mean everything is right with you and Nick." And she goes, "What makes you say that?" "Well, because everything's on track. Your business is starting. You got a first client. That's a plus. You're all excited and happy. That has to be Nick because Nick is the perfect man for you, for your life plan." And Chloe and Sally's like, "I like the way you just, go long term, really on everybody else's life." But she didn't say that, right? And so Chloe says, "Look, as long as it don't have nothing to do with Adam, long as he's in the rear view, you know. So if it's one thing Sally did not do, she didn't tell her about Adam. Because see, had she told her about Adam, Chloe can't help but try to run somebody's life and tell them how wrong they're doing it and tell them they're making, oh goodness, I was so happy when she didn't tell her about Adam. So Daniel comes and Chloe, first Sally's like introducing him to Chloe, and Daniel and Chloe know each other, right? So finally they kind of, she goes, "Nice to meet you," and he goes, "Yeah, nice to meet you too." She goes, "Come here." So they hug each other, and that's when Sally's like, "Oh, okay." You guys know each other. So Sally is, telling him she's so excited. She's got some wonderful ideas for his place. And Daniel's like, "Good, I'm happy. I'm happy to get this project started." And so he has his phone rings. He goes, "Listen, ladies, I got to take this phone call real quick." So he steps away, and Sally looks at Chloe. She says, because before Daniel got there, Sally said, "You kind of mentioned things were like kind of, what are things not going well at Marchetti?" And then Daniel comes, Chloe couldn't say. So while Daniel steps away, Sally says, "So look, you didn't say, what, how's it going at Marchetti?" And she goes, "Not good." She says, "Truthfully, I think I made a mistake." And Sally just looks at her and Sally says, "You know what? I have an idea. Why don't you come with me to Daniel's if you're free?" And actually, she invited her before Chloe said things weren't going well because she goes, "If you're free." And Chloe says, "I have a meeting in a few hours that I'd rather stick nails in my eyes," or something she said negative, or scratch my nails on chalkboard or something. And so Chloe says, "Wait a minute. I thought things were going well." And that's when Chloe says, "No, they're not. And I think I made a mistake." Because let's face it, everybody, Chelsea had just got that job, but yet they needed to write her out on maternity leave. They only used Chloe as a filler so that Chelsea wouldn't lose her job, right? Realistically, the writer said, okay, because Chloe would be a lot of eyes and ears for Chelsea, right? I can remember when they went for Fashion Week, Chloe went, and Chloe and Summer had a great time. So, now they're writing this riff because they're going to put Chloe back with Chelsea at the design company. So anyway, Chloe says, you know what? Yes, I'm free and I would love to come. So Daniel comes back. They go to his place and, you know, Sally's questioning him on some of his, what are your likes? What would you like to see me do with this place? And he explains what he would like to see. And the funny thing is, she was talking to Chloe, gonna do a pitch, kind of pitching Chloe before Daniel gets there to run it through her. Daniel pretty much said what he wanted was what Sally had already said because he's artistic, allergies, y'all. He's artistic and blah, blah, blah. So she already had some great ideas when he said what he said. And as Chloe is walking through, Chloe says, you know what? I have some great ideas for the dining room. And Sally says, and if you like her ideas, I'm stealing. So they were bouncing off each other and they were getting ready to start in the bedroom and the doorbell rings. Well, Lucy and Heather are back. And Lucy has gotten tall since they hired her on the show. This young lady's a tall young lady, and Daniel is short, so that's interesting. That's interesting. And Heather's not a real mother. So anyway, um, she's like, look, let's surprise Dad. But Lucy was like, she wasn't looking forward to living at the GCAC. And Heather's like, this is a fine hotel. Many people would love to stay here. She goes, but Mom, this seems temporary. This doesn't seem like I could call this home. And what teenager could, realistically? Unless her mother got her own room, she'd be staying in the same room as her mother, right? So she goes, I hope Dad finds us a place fast. So she goes, and wait, let's get settled in before we call him because I want to surprise him. So Heather goes, okay. So they sit down, they eat, and then Heather says, okay, it's time to call your dad, but it went to voicemail. But he had already given Lucy the address when he wanted her to kind of look online to see if she kind of liked the feel of the place, right? So she knew where to go. And they called his office, and the assistant said that he had a meeting with the interior designer at his new place. So they knew where to go. So, of course, they just show up. And Daniel was so happy because he didn't even know they were coming to town. They were moving back that fast. He told Heather, I was kind of thinking maybe you would get there and decide you did not want to make the move. So he didn't want to get his hopes up too high. So they met Chelsea and Chloe. And he goes, we were just about to do a walkthrough. So Chelsea and Chloe took Daniel to the bedroom. And then when the scene comes back, they're done, got all the ideas they need. And Lucy even got to pick the color for her room. So they took a little input from Lucy. And Lucy was so happy, but he says, well, he did find them a place. She goes, Dad, how does it go in finding us a place? He goes, I got a lead on a great place, but it's not going to be ready for a month and a half. And Lucy's face dropped. And he goes, what's the matter? What's wrong with the GCAC? And she goes, and Heather goes, she feels she's not feeling the GCAC. She feels it's not like a home. And he goes, well, look, soon as we get furniture in, you can stay in your room any night you want. She goes, really, Dad? Really? Like all the time? Like every night? And she goes, sorry, Mom. And she goes, no offense taken, because look, it's only a month and a half, right? And so Heather is just like, yeah, this is working. This is what, because Heather wants Daniel back. And Lily sees it. So Lily comes in because she was going to meet Dad. She was hoping she would get done with her meeting with Devon early enough. And then she said she would come down. So she comes in and she sees this little family scene. And she goes, hey, Lucy, Heather, I didn't know you were coming back to town so soon. She goes, yeah, we're back. kind of get settled in. And she says, "Oh, Daniel, I hate that I miss Chloe. I miss Sally." He goes, "Yeah," and Chloe was with her. So she goes, "Oh," and so Lucy says something about, I think she said, "I'm gonna be staying in my room here when we get furniture in it." And Lucy's like, "Oh, well, that's nice." And she says something, and Heather just like catch meowing it. And so that's, I can already see what's going to happen. And unfortunately, with a tug of war between Heather and Lucy and Lily, Lily's going to lose. But I think that's the way they're going to write her out on her maternity leave. She's going to be a little sad about it. But we'll see how they're going to write it. But we already know what's going to happen. But she and Devon were talking, and they boring scene with Devon and Abby talking about, oh, family, give him a chance, and maybe you could forgive Nate, and yada yada yada. And he goes, "Yeah, that's what Mamie wants, but I don't necessarily trust Mamie." And so she's like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, when Tucker in the mix," and she goes, "That does make a difference," because she goes, "Just by point blank, Mamie wanted it a family company. There's nothing wrong with it." She says, "But I think," Devon says, "but there's more to it." She goes, "And I think she plans on somehow trying to get Jill out of the company." And Jill has 51%. So Mamie's little piece, I don't know how she thinks she could accomplish that. And so Devon said, "That's probably where Tucker comes in." And Lily's like, "Yeah." So then they were talking about, well, do you ever feel you can make peace with Nate? And he goes, "I never was going to say it would never happen, but Mamie wants it like now." And she goes, it's like I'm being forced into it. And so Lily said, "But he is family," and she is right. Dad would want that. And she goes, and mom, when mom is not here, dad is not here. My kids are all grown, living their adult life. She goes, "Nate is here and he's family. And Mamie's here." So she goes, "Do you feel you could give it a shot with just seeing if you can mend fences with Nate?" Because he goes, "Nate's really put forth the effort too, Devon." And he goes, "I know." He says, "I will try. I'll give it a try for you, and I'll give it a try for me." And she goes, "That's all I can ask." So when Devon left the penthouse, he texts Nate saying, "Hey, can we meet for a drink?" So he put that olive branch out there for Nate. So we shall see, how that's going to play. I mean, realistically, I think he will end up back there, but it was good. Victor's playing Victor. He called everybody in, and Nikki's standing there, and Nate's standing there because they made their plans and authority. And Victor says, he was trying to hide his condition, but he feels it's progressed further than he wanted. I mean that it has, and they need to take action, you know. But he wanted to come clean with them. And Nikki is looking at him like, "What? We still playing this?" And he goes, I'm going to go and get an assessment, right, or get some help." And Nikki sits down, and Victoria's already seated. And Nick goes, "Mom, what do you have to say about this?" And she goes, "Well, I wasn't expecting to hear this." So she sits down. She don't give up nothing. She goes, "I wasn't expecting to hear this." And she's looking at Victor like, right? And so Victor goes on and on. And he goes, "Nate, you know, Nate has some ideas." And Nate steps up. "Yes, Victor, we've already discussed it. I already have a great team of colleagues that I know. They're going to be discreet. They have a specialized private clinic. Victor would be there under their care. He would go voluntarily, but under their care. And his release would be, determined upon their findings. So it could be a while." And Nick says, and wait, and Nikki looks at him, and Nick says, wait a minute. So our dad, you want him to be gone to some clinic and completely away from us for an undetermined amount of time. And Nate says, that's the best course of treatment. These doctors are world renowned. And Victoria says, and they will sign all the necessary NDAs, right? She goes, no. He goes, that's all in place. And so Victoria stands there like, okay. And Nick is like, didn't like it, but whatever. So then Victor looks at Adam. He goes, son, what do you think? Adam says, I don't like it. He says, why would we want you taken away for, we don't know how long you're going to be gone. How are we supposed to keep that under wraps, Dad? He says, a couple decades ago, you could get away with that extended vacation. He said, now with the internet, he goes, some young punk reporter will find where you're at, and then it'll all get out. He says, my recommendation, he goes, we are the Newmans. We could turn the ranch into a state-of-the-art facility. And Dad would be here, and he would still be in the public's eye, and he would be getting treatments. He says, we could even turn the top of this building, the top of Newman Towers, into a state-of-the-art facility, and no one would know. And Nate says, no, he needs to be away because that could compromise, him getting better. And so Nate says, no, and Adam says, and no, our dad needs to be near his family. And so Victoria says, I hate to say this, but I agree with Adam. And Nate kind of bucked a bit, like, wait, what? And so Victor says, okay, Nate, what is your suggestion for if I'm gone? What's your suggestion who for taking over this company? And he goes, well, Victoria, she has the skills, she has the experience, and she would naturally be the one that would be expected to take the company, take over. And he looked at her, he goes, are you in cahoots with this? Did you suggest this? And she goes, no, Daddy, I had no idea we were even going to have this meeting. So Nate said, Victor, you insisted that I not tell anyone. And I did not even Victoria. Victoria doesn't even know what you and I have discussed per your wishes. And he goes, mm-hmm. And he's looking at his phone. You know how Victor is. He dismisses while he's looking at your phone. So he looks over at Nikki and he says, what do you say, sweetheart? Do we end this charade right now? And she goes, with pleasure, because she was sick of it, right? Nikki has been sick of it since the beginning. And so they all look like charade. And Nate is like, charade? And he goes, Victor, I don't understand. And Nate's kind of puzzled. I don't understand. And Victor leans in with a sinister smile. He goes, quite simply, you're fired. And Nate looks at him. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. On what grounds is he going to fire Adam? Nate. Because Nate did do everything he told him to do. Unless somehow Nate was sewing in some underhanded stuff and Victor had him being watched every step. I don't know. But I was shocked when he said, quite simply, you're fired. So that's going to be good to come back tomorrow to find out. Or is Victor now going to play? Are they going to bring back he don't know what he's talking about? Because look, Adam said he fired me 2 days ago. you know, I don't mean nothing saying you fired. I don't mean you fired. So we shall see. We shall see what's going to happen with that. Let's go to comment corner. Comment corner. Got a couple comments here. Roxy said, okay, so you said throw Mamie on the bus back home. Did I say that, Roxy? I don't know. I don't know that I said that. Give her a chance. How about throw No Tears Christine or Can't Satisfy Ashley or cry or When Cries Mariah, Always Bad Weather? Just saying. I know. No, I just expect more of Mamie. The last time Mamie was even there, she was sophisticated. There's no sophistication and savvy to the way they're having her play this part right now that she's in. She could still have the same storyline, still be in league with Tucker, but have some sophistication about it. That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Now Mr. Snitches should get stitches, Nick. he can't wait to throw Adam under the bus. She says, I'm Team Adam and Team Tucker, out of Genoa City. Nick really acts jealous of Adam after he went after his brother's woman and got on her until she is now Team Adam. Yeah. Come on, I missed Tucker. I missed Tucker crying. Uh was Wait, I used to be able to see the show. I missed now because you have to pay. Oh, you miss it now because they're making you pay for it, and it's not worth it. It just I just have to hear about it. Adam, it is your time, shine. And Tucker, they make show. Wait, they make the show. Nikki, Vic, Nick, Nate, Ashley, Kyle, even Jack sowed bad seeds. Time to reap your harvest. You did forget to say Adam, because he sowed some bad seeds, really. And then she says, Diane is quiet. Where's Phyllis trying to play Tucker? Watch out. Victor's just Victor. And Lashunta says, Jack is so gullible. Where's Diane at? Because she coddles him. She sure does. And they haven't shown Diane in a minute. They really, really haven't. You missed Tucker crying. I'm sure because I know you have YouTube because you're seeing the daily recaps. Um, Follow some folks that actually show. I don't know how they get away with it, airing the actual show, even though it's horrible video quality. Sometimes you could tell they're recording it and you're going to see a brick. You're going to see maybe somebody's eye, not the whole body. But you might get a glimpse of that Tucker cry scene. It was really good. First, I mean, I was shocked that they had him cry and break down like that. That just shows how much she means to him. So anyway, everybody, that is it. Nothing else special, nothing else on The Young and the Restless. I will be back tomorrow for another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.